So we're finally getting more details about the new character coming in 3.1, and just recently we got a full breakdown of Triby's kit. And honestly, it looks really promising. From HP scaling to team-wide buffs, follow-up attacks, and a unique aura mechanic, there's a lot to unpack here. She seems to be one of the most interesting supports we've seen in a while, with clear synergy for certain characters and a playstyle that could shake up team-building strategies. But how good is she really? So in this video, let's take a closer look at Triby's full kit, break down what makes her unique, and see how she might fit into different teams. Let's get into it. Let's start with what makes Triby stand out: her HP scaling. Her abilities are designed around high HP multipliers, AoE damage, and coordinated attacks. Unlike most supports that just provide attack boosts or shields, Triby actually contributes to the team's damage output directly while enhancing the overall team performance. Her basic attack is pretty straightforward, hitting up to 3 enemies at once. Her skill is where things start to get interesting. Triby's skill creates an aura that grants team-wide buffs, which include damage buffs, resistance penetration, HP-based extra damage. Her ultimate is where her big AoE potential comes in. It deals widespread damage to all enemies while applying a special buff. This buff makes it so that whenever enemies take damage, the enemy with the highest HP takes additional damage. This is perfect for boss fights or elite enemies that take longer to go down, allowing the team to focus fire on the toughest targets while still hitting everything else. Then there's her talent, which is one of the most exciting parts of her kit. Whenever an ally uses their ultimate, Triby follows up with an attack on the enemies. This means that in teams built around frequent ultimates, Triby will constantly be landing extra hits, adding an entirely new layer of damage output. If you have ult-spamming teammates, she's basically handing you free damage on top of whatever else they're doing. Her traces focus on making her even stronger at what she does best. She gets increased damage output, so she isn't just a passive support. Max HP increases, which, again, directly impact her damage scaling. Bonus energy regeneration, which helps her cycle her abilities faster. Her eidolons enhance her damage output, but she remains primarily a support rather than a true sub-DPS. One thing that stands out to me is how her mechanics seem tailor-made for teams that already thrive on coordinated attacks. If you're looking at the best teammates for her, the obvious pick is Herta. It's almost like she was designed specifically to boost Herta's follow-up damage, making their synergy ridiculously strong. Every time Herta procs a follow-up, Triby adds more damage into the mix. This means in battles with multiple enemies, Herta's passive triggers even more frequently, stacking tons of extra hits from Triby. It's a cycle of non-stop AoE, and in pure fiction or enemy-heavy fights, this could become one of the most oppressive team setups in the game. That said, I also think Serval is going to be a strong choice alongside her. Serval's playstyle benefits from constant ultimates and consistent damage application, and Triby helps enable both. The way Triby generates buffs and extra attacks just fits naturally with Serval's damage over time and follow-up mechanics. In multi-target scenarios, this pairing could feel really satisfying, creating a smooth damage cycle where Serval takes advantage of Triby's buffs while helping her build energy quickly. Argenti is another character who could pair incredibly well with her, even though I feel like his playstyle depends more on big bursts of energy rather than the steady flow of attacks that Herta and Serval benefit from. Still, Triby's buffs and follow-up mechanics can complement Argenti in fights where he has the energy to go all in with his ultimate. If you're stacking energy generation in a team, I can see him working with Triby as a strong AoE alternative. Overall, Triby seems like a niche, but potentially powerful character. If your team already revolves around frequent ultimates or follow-up attacks, she could elevate that playstyle significantly. However, if you primarily run single-target burst damage teams, you might not get the full value from her kit. This makes her more of a specialized pick rather than a universally must-have unit. From what we know so far, her strongest potential lies in AoE-focused fights. Her buffs, follow-up attacks, and extra damage effects all indicate that she will perform best in enemy-dense content like Pure Fiction, where frequent follow-up attacks and ultimates can fully take advantage of her kit. However, her effectiveness may depend on having the right teammates, such as Serval, Herta, or Argenti, rather than her being a standalone powerhouse. If you're looking to support an existing follow-up attack or AoE-based team, she might be worth considering. But for those without a clear synergy, it may be best to wait for more details or other upcoming units. But what do you guys think? Are you planning to pull for Triby, or are you saving for someone else? Let me know in the comments, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. I'll see you in the next one. If you want to save up to 23% on Fugue and Firefly banners, visit lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.